to KSC's Case Start, where we have honest, funny, and sometimes downright hilarious conversations with innovators, founders, and business leaders from all around the world. And they share their journeys from the ground up. We hope you'll find some hidden knowledge and inspiration as we extract key insights and expertise through the bad, good, and ugly of the entrepreneurial journey. I'm joined here by my friend Jun Yoon, also VP of KSC. Why don't you introduce yourself briefly for the crowd?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me, for this podcast. My name is Jun Yoon. I'm a co-founder and CTO at Culinary Agents, as well as a serial entrepreneurs. I have a one exit experiences in the United States. I'm also investing, as an angel for a handful of companies, and as Zach mentioned, a VP of KSC.
Awesome. Thank you for the intro. Um, where did you grow up? Like, did you spend most of your time in the States? Like, where did you grow up? Like, what's your background and like how did you become a founder?
Oh, that's the my 40 years of journey, to short it into 10 seconds. I was born in Seoul. I actually grown up in Seoul and then finish elementary school, middle school, high schools, as well as college in Seoul as well. I also went to the army services for 2 years to a little bit more northern side of South Korea. And then I came to United States when I was 26 years old. So this is the first time, I came out, from South Korea and, also start learning English, how to speak. So, as you may hear that, I have a little bit more very strong Korean accent. But, because I was, born and raised and grown in Korea. And what's your last question was, how do you become a founder? Was
Yeah.
Mm, yeah, it's a long story short. I came to United States because I want to be a founder of the company. I think that's how I studied. I think that's one of the strong motivations. I kind of study kind of very hard
Mm-hmm.
when I was in college to be able to enter into the States. So, I studied a master's degrees at Stony Brook University for computer science, and then right after I finished the computer sciences master's, I just joined the startup companies in New York City, and then that's how I started to found the company.
Mm-hmm. And like it's not a common track, right, for a lot of people coming from Korea to become a startup founder. Like that's not like a well, at least like now it's a little bit more popular, but even now it's not the preferred kind of route. So like what compelled you to do that? What was your biggest motivation to do that?
Oh, it is. I thought this one was common, but I think back to 1990, 2000, the millennium year. I joined the startup companies when I was seniors in college, and
Mm,
I think that's where what I don't want to kind of there's a pros and cons, but I don't want to join the large company like Samsung and LG, or some of a lot of my friends just went to the bank as well, but don't want to do the kind of typical career path of
mm-hmm,
general of my friends was doing it. So yeah, so let me look for the different career opportunity, and that's why I found the join the startup company when I was in
mm-hmm,
senior years in college. Then I learned a lot. And then I see the huge opportunity from there as well. And then even I think the when I grown up, when I was in high schools and middle school, uh, I think I kind of sitting around of my friends who has the whose father is also owner of the company as well. So I kind of
mm,
get a lot of influencers and then influenced by them as well. Okay, this is a decision they make. It's a little bit different than what I was thinking. So it's kind of
mm,
it's different. So I think that's how I want to become a founders of the company,
mm-hmm.
and mostly, I want to make money. I want to make a
Okay.
lot of money, and this is a one of our opportunity, and then one of our track that I wanted to pursue, for my kind of next decade. That's when I was at
Right.
26, 24,
Right.
26. So like I think that's why I came to the United States because it's a Korea at that time, like 1999. There's a dot-com bubble. What's
Yeah.
happened. So it wasn't like at that time was like great like environments to start off like companies.
Mm.
So that's why I decided to come to the United States.
And your co-founders, when you first started the first company, like,
Yeah.
were they your classmates? How did you know they were a good fit? Like, how did you find them?
Oh, so it's I don't know. I say I'm a really lucky of my career because I was it wasn't my classmate. It's when I get my like it's a second jobs in the States. I was the software engineer,
Mm.
and then the person who's sitting next to me also hired as a software engineers, and then it's just 1 month apart.
Okay.
So, I chat a lot with him, and then if I don't know about the like, we share a lot of informations, like try to solve the like company's problems together,
Hmm.
and then that's become it's become a friend, and then and then his friend, one of his friends, wants to found the company, so he invited me to join to be a founder for the company as well. So three of us is found the company, back to 2007.
Yeah.
So it wasn't classmate. It is my office mate.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, like, uh, you know, these days, a lot of people find, you said you were very lucky, but a lot of people find it difficult to find co-founders, right? Like, I have an idea and I need someone to like complement my skill set. But in your case, I guess you were the complement to that skill set.
Yeah, I
Like,
think so.
but was there like other kind of considerations that you knew you would be good business partners? Was there anything that you were like, okay, this is somebody that I want to, work with for a long time?
Uh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Like, just be honest. Like the first time was no, right? Because 'cause, that's why I was lucky. And then the person, who so we actually three of us is a meeting at the like coffee shop. Then we
Yeah.
had like a lot of like talkings, sharing the ideas about the company and I don't know. It's just more like first impression was I don't know really important for me as well. But as the first impressions of them is just okay. I can respect those two guys, the other co-founders, is for
Hmm.
the long time, and then I can learn a lot from them as well. Also, I can contribute, like the building the company. So it's not just it's not just like gut feeling. It's just more like
Yeah.
after I have a chatting with them a lot, I kind of realized that okay, you know what, this is the like co-founders I can actually work with,
Yeah.
like for many years.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important.
And what was your first company? Like, what did your first company do?
The company name is Image Space Media.
Hmm.
What we have it is we are kind of like the platform company, so between the buyer and sellers, but we have our own advertise unit. I think everyone knows about annoying ads, which is when you read the article, when you see a image, photos within the article, and then we shows the relevant ads
Mm.
on top of image. Right? That's the technology
Yeah.
companies we have it
Okay.
we also I think that we are the platform company for the advertisement, so ad tech company.
Okay. Okay. And so you were talking that about the fact that you exited your first company. What was that process like? Who bought it? Like, did they approach you? Were you like guys
uh,
trying to get sold? Like, what actually happened?
oh, that's uh it, the company, actually company called Vibrant Media, which is
Mm.
also a in-text advertise company. So this is another
Okay.
annoying company, which is when you read the article, there's a tool on the line,
Yeah.
on the keywords, and then once you mouse over something like something like box pop
Yeah.
up, and then you saw the ads. So that company needs to like wants to be IPO, and then
Mm.
to be able to be IPO, they need to expand their product suite a little bit more wider.
Right.
So as part of that's why it's more like a strategic investment, strategic
Okay.
acquisitions. It's not like growth acquisition, the growth investment or acquisition for that. So they need another products within within their service. So that's how
Hmm.
they acquire. So they reach out to us, and then we say, oh, you know what? This is actually a good time because it's we were deciding whether we're gonna go to Series B or we need to sell a
Uh-huh.
company, and then okay, and then like the founder of the companies is and the board of directors is we decided okay we're gonna sell the company, so we hire also bankers to
Mm.
actually shopping around because we don't want to just sell our company to
Right,
one
right, right,
company
right.
because so we shopping around and then there are like one or two more companies kind of interested in, and then one of the companies actually very very interested in of our companies, but we finally decided to actually sell
Oh,
the
so there
company
was
to the
another
Vibrant Media.
company that was more interested in you
Yeah,
than
yeah,
than the
yeah,
ultimate buyer, but you
yeah,
guys
yeah, alternate
decided
buyer.
on the Vibrant Media first.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And
Okay,
so
okay, got it. And like,
there was a
was there
painful
any?
exercise. It's a
Was it
painful
painful? So that
exercise.
was another part of the question, right? Like, were there any disputes on, the price or whether we should sell or not? There's a bit recently in the news, there was a company that rejected, I think, like a 23 billion dollar offer from Google
Yeah,
because they wanted to go public, right? And that was very contentious because a lot of the employees were ready to spend money. They already spent all of their money, and now they have to wait for the IPO. Was there any discussion amongst the co-founders? Was there like a lot of any infighting or anything like that?
we, uh, luckily, no, we don't have any
Okay.
fightings at all.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, at the time, we were like, really kind of, I don't want to say struggle, but, we were managing like financial
Mm.
statement. It was like very strong at that
Mm-hmm.
time. So, like, we need to decide it, whether, we need to make it a little bit more, like, showing the exponential growth or
Right.
you need to sell. But, there's this good, really good opportunity and really good offers from the Vibrant Media. So that's why
Yeah.
we instead of actually growing ourselves, we all agreed that we're gonna actually sell the company. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
And like,
there's no argument, there's no fight
right,
amongst the
right.
founders.
Yeah. And so like you exited your company. So, I think founders either do one or two things, right? They become a professional investor or, well, actually one of three things. They become a professional investor, they retire, or they start a new company.
Yeah.
And it looks like you've done the third option and the first option. So what was that journey like? Like after you exited, what was your thought process?
Uh, uh, I'm not sure if I say like that, but it wasn't enough money for me to retire.
Okay.
It wasn't,
Okay.
I don't want to say it's money wise, but even though I did a huge exit, I'm pretty sure so I'm gonna, I wanted to start another company because it's
Hmm.
I think that's why I enjoy the most, like building
Yeah.
the company, like start the company, building the company, and then
Yeah.
selling, sell the products to the clients. I think
Yeah.
that is the fun journey. And then I've been like investing, like bunch of different like kind of startups as an angel investor as well. But
Hmm.
I don't know. It's my genuine is not sure I'm actually enjoying it. I'm okay to actually advising them of
Yeah.
what I think that's the my one of the option for
Right.
that.
Right.
But even though investors, like founders doesn't want to listen to the investors about my
Yeah.
opinions.
Yeah.
So like I'm more like mostly step back and they're just looking at
Okay.
the financial statements, of the company I invest in. So it's like, do you want to just look at data or do you want to build a company? And then I'm gonna choose the latter. So building
Right.
the
Right. Right.
company is
Right.
more fun
Right.
right now.
And
Yeah.
like so you've done it like multiple times now. The first one was the exit, it was successful. You're advising companies also, you've also done some investing. So you've seen a lot, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
you've operated a lot too. Um, like personally, what would you say is like the biggest mistake you made as an operator? Like going back, like looking
Oh,
back on everything, and like what would you do all over again if you knew what you knew now?
oh, yeah. All over again and you feel it again. Okay, it's not like so many things is I want to do all over again.
Sure,
Uh,
we have the time.
yeah, but like I just picked the two things. Is I think the first things is most important is the financial it's a financial management. So it's
Okay.
a we didn't. we looking at the finance statement every month, like the P&Ls and balances every month with the board of directors, but still, the looking at the data, and then if you don't recognize that, like what your burn is gonna be
Mm-hmm.
impact to your bank statement, like
Yeah.
I said, then if you already recognize, it's already too late, right? So
Mm.
you have to constantly monitor, and then manage your expense a little bit more thoughtfully,
Mm-hmm.
and budgeting wise is a little bit more like at least looking at least like 24 months ahead, instead of
Yeah.
looking at the 6 months ahead. So like those things is we made a huge mistake. So that that's
Mm.
why we went to like Series A. We did the Series A extensions because we didn't like we couldn't manage the
Couldn't
financial,
manage the burn. Mm-hmm.
yeah, the burn well. So I think that's the biggest mistake that we have. It. I think because of that, like that there are a lot of like struggles that we had it like at the first company. And then second one is more like is a like I think that's what I learned from the first company is the company needs to have its own like framework
Mm-hmm.
of process to run the company. And then we didn't have that process, in place. I think that's because
Yeah.
it's like three of us is the first time co-founders, and like there's no expertise actually running the company as operator. Uh,
Right.
so I think that like the setting of the process, what it is the skills, but like none of
Mm-hmm.
us had it at the time. And then I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to learn. Okay, there's some black holes. We're trying to find out. A
Yeah.
lot of like project is an ad hoc project,
Right. Right. Right.
rather than kind of repeating project. So I think that's where I'm trying to build the structures is in place.
Mm-hmm.
If I start from the beginning again.
So, that's interesting because like you and I talk about framework a lot.
Yeah.
It's a topic that's near and dear to your heart. And it's something that, I've also taken to heart, from when we discuss it. But, as a founder sometimes of a startup, it seems difficult, very in the early days particularly, right? Because like
Yeah.
there's so many unknowns. So like the framework itself is moving. I think a lot of people will say, "What's the point?" Like in the first year, if I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. What would you say as that, like as advice to that? Like, is a framework still important even in like the pre-seed ideation stage? It's just that the framework is rapidly evolving,
Yeah.
or is it something that's more necessary later on in the process?
The framework, it's my definition of framework. It's not just like, set in stone. It's not
Hmm.
like the machine, it's like there's a line, people sitting on the like setting up the line, takes like 6 months, and then, like they're doing
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
repeating process, every time. So it's not like that. It's just more like it's really flexible, but like you
Mm,
can start from the building the communication architecture first.
okay.
So, like, for example, if one of the founders, let's say one of your executive team, has some ideas is about this, then, we don't know how to escalate those ideas to the other stakeholders.
Yeah.
Because normally they just chat in the meeting, random
Right.
meeting they set up.
Right.
So yeah, instead of actually doing that, I think especially for the like the early stage companies, like everyone have a same page. It's extremely hard to do it. I think it's impossible. But like
Yeah.
trying to get a same page about what CEO is thinking is
Hmm.
very similar to what the junior level operator is thinking. Also,
Yeah.
but the junior level operator has some ideas and the feedback. It needs to with the proper process to escalate to the like C levels as well. So
Right.
there's some like communication architecture needs to be set up, and then once you set up, then that everyone can contribute to build a company together. I think
Hmm.
that's a really important
Hmm.
aspect for the like especially for the very early stage companies. I think that's where they start to setting up
Yeah.
the framework, and then once you set up the framework, and then everyone is contributing, and then like there's a project is coming down, then there's also need to have some kind of process. It's also
Right.
starting from the communicating, how we communicate to start, how do you start the project by communicating, with amongst the stakeholders. I think that's
Yeah.
the setting up the process first.
Hmm.
Process can change anytime, but
Right. Right. Right.
as long as it's all the stakeholders know that what the process is, then they can expect what's next.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the easiest explanation is there's a product development cycle. There's also Scrum has it, but there's a brainstorming meeting. There's a like some like wireframe came out, and then there's a like tech feasibility meeting to make sure that tech involved at that time, and then there's a back and forth between marketing or something, and then there's a tech review meetings, and then it's handed off to the dev team. I think
Right.
there's a clear process is in place, so that even though you have a like brilliant idea, let's say like after when we go to later stage, normally that idea is they know that okay, that idea is not gonna implement on day one, but
Yeah.
they expect that that idea can be discussed on stage after stage, like first release. It can be the 1.1, it can be 1.2, can be 2.0. So everyone can contribute, everyone, but we
Hmm.
don't actually fight to kind of rectify the process. It's more like
Right.
we just this is a process is in exists, and everyone knows the process, and everyone just like contributing and then getting benefit each other. I think
Right. Right.
that's the way to set up the process for me. This is my
Yeah.
my
Well, I mean,
definition.
not having a framework or a process, I think in the early days is a pretty common mistake, right? Like
Yeah,
everyone's so excited about an idea, everyone's moving super fast, and everything. The world seems possible, right? Like
yeah.
and like people just like are just kind of like running with their ideas. But do you see any other mistakes that other founders are making, kind of in the early days? What are the biggest mistakes that they're making, in addition to potentially not having a framework?
Uh, Good question. Two things again.
Yeah.
Uh, I think starting from the second one. The second one is like I think they need to listen to advisors, especially
Mm.
for the like board of advisors and the board of directors. Uh, because the person, I don't know, the people who knows about your companies outside of your team, this is the board of directors and board of advisors, because they should know so about your company really well, but
Yeah.
they're not like day-to-day operating, so
Yeah.
they kind of see the outside of scene, what's going on, and then they trying to like, and they already have a lot of experiences about the building the company, all those stuff. So listen to them, just don't ignore. uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and listen to them, and then at least like digest what that means, and then trying
Right.
to execute. Not
Yeah.
what they suggested. Is more like with your own way, but you
Okay.
need to digest their feedback first. But that's the second one. That the most important one is a swing by sales. I think that's
Okay.
most important, especially for the product team, because there's a the company, most of the company has a like product roadmap, but they tend to like swing by like small sales order because it's all like it has to but that has to have a process in place. Once you have a process in place, you normally don't swing by like sales requirement. But if you don't have the process, they actually like impact a lot. Like once a salesperson like bring a small deals, and then they want to deliver that deals, but they also keep up the another big roadmap. So it's gonna roadmap is gonna be all like disrupted, and then it's gonna be delayed. But that's gonna be, if you look at the like like step if you step back to looking at it, then because you have a like clear roadmap for 24 months or 18 months to 24 months, but you need to deliver with your budget. But if you swing by that small sales, then it's gonna be all delayed. So so that so it's I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. It's just more like you have to think think through and discuss with your teams, and then make a best
Mm.
decisions for that. Just don't do it.
Yeah. So, we talked about the swing sales and kind of the mistakes that, a lot of founders early on are making, right? So like they don't have the framework, your personal mistakes were mismanaged finances, right? And like because of a lot of the mistakes that I think founders make early on and like continuously, right? It never really stops. There's a lot of stress, right? And it's very unique stress. It's not like I don't think it's any kind of stress that you experience elsewhere. Um, what do you do personally, right, to deal with stress or that kind of that related stress? And what do you recommend for other people that are like a more general advice than like not exactly how you deal with it per se?
All right. Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna share how I deal with it. So, no, it's not a secret, but in general, I don't know. I need to leverage, my experience. But in general, I talk everything uh,
Mm,
to my partner. My partner is my wife
mm,
at this
mm,
time right now. Uh, and I'm really lucky to actually, have my partners who actually listening to me, and then, not sure she understand my struggle, but at least
mhm,
I have a someone to I can actually talk to. So like I just mentioned before that board of directors knows your company the best outside of your company, outside,
mhm,
not part of your company, but I think your partner is the best person
mhm,
who knows about me,
mhm,
not,
mhm.
who's not working, in the same company. So like, and then I can get a like kind of, like third person and a third party opinions about my stress, so that I can actually like adjust my behaviors, or handling my stresses.
Mhm.
I think that's the best. I think that's the only one thing for me.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do
yeah.
travel a lot, but that's the one time only. It doesn't actually solve the permanent problem. But I
Right,
think,
right.
yeah, the like throughout my kind of how many years? It's like 17.
Mhm.
No, it's almost like 18 years of my startup journey. I think still, I'm really lucky to have my wife to listening to me
Yeah,
and understand about my stress.
right. You are very lucky, right? I mean, like you said, I don't think it's that. Uh, I think it was in one of the books. It was in Horowitz's book, like the hard thing about hard things, right? And it's
Yeah.
like he called his mentor and said, we're gonna go bankrupt. Like I have to lay everybody off. We're never gonna raise money. We can't IPO. And his coach or whoever it was said, no one cares. You can like talk to other people, but just go fix the situation. Like you can talk to them,
Yeah.
right? But I think what he meant to say is like they don't. It's not that they don't care about you. It's
Yeah.
that like they don't understand what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't
Yeah.
they don't care about that topic specifically. They care about you absolutely. Like they don't want you to
Yeah.
be stressed. They don't
Yeah.
want you to be unhealthy. But they don't know what you're saying. So you can
Yeah.
do one or two things: just to sit around,
There,
keep
there,
complaining, or just go fix
yeah.
it, right?
There's no strong empathy like between,
Yeah,
like those parties. Yeah.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
And like,
So,
yeah, it's and I think like Korean American or Korean founders even find it more difficult to talk about these things, right?
yeah, yeah. There's a like, I think, having a group of people having a same struggle, like, like
Hmm.
talking together. I think that's really important. I think that's why we have a KSE.
Absolutely,
It's in there.
absolutely. Safe
Uh,
place. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then even like, the other day, I had a I had a dinner with my like friend, like the friend's family, and then they were talking about wives, family struggle, and then
Hmm.
they're really happy to actually have the persons, like had a like kind of similar situations, and
Mm.
then talking to someone, because it's a like they were struggle to actually, what, my husband doesn't understand anyway, and then I
Hmm.
don't know who to talk to, but that's the kind of one of the kind of like place that they talk each other, and then
Right.
they understand each other. I think that's really important
Yeah.
to sharing, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I
reduce the
think yeah.
stress.
Yeah. It's not even about like getting a solution or like getting out
Oh
of
yeah,
it, right? It's just
yeah.
sharing, right? It's
If
and
if
sometimes
you're
for
looking for,
me,
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
No, no, if you're looking for tactic, there's someone else who you need to go after, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're talking about the stress, it's a different, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me personally, like talking about stuff, sometimes actually, like, I look at it in a completely different way than it was like in my head,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
It just looks completely different when it like comes out of your mouth and you actually articulate it. Sometimes usually the the way I view it when I talk about it is like, oh, it's not that bad. But like if I don't talk about it, like it seems terrible. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
seems like
yeah. You
everything
need
is
to.
world ending. Yeah, and then I talk to my wife about it. She's like, "Well, that doesn't sound so bad. Like just like just do this." And I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, I guess
yeah.
that's true.
The
You know, I'm
third party point of
overreacting.
view. Yeah,
Yeah,
is important.
exactly.
And
You
then
need a third
you
party.
also
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
speak
yeah.
out. I think speak out is the
Exactly.
most important. Yeah. Then
Yeah,
once you speak, then you're gonna actually, recompartmentalize, about your thinking as well. So
yeah, 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 yeah.
this
For
is
sure, for sure.
important.
And like, um, as we kind of head toward the end of this session,
Mhm.
are there any key pieces of advice for new founders, not people that have already started the business, right? We
Mhm.
talked about the
Yeah.
framework, we talked about the financial management. Somebody that's like trying to decide, right? Like, I'm going to quit my banking job and do a startup. I'm going to do this and
Yeah.
do a startup, right? Because I think um, some questions that people face are, am I even built to be an entrepreneur? Right? I
Mm.
think that's one question because I think that's tied to personality. It's tied to a
Yeah.
lot of different things, right? Maybe threshold for pain
Yeah. Yeah.
is another one. Like what advice would you give to someone that's thinking about
I normally when I hear a lot. I hear a
it?
lot. I have these ideas. I'm working for, big
Hmm.
company, very stable income. Uh, but I don't know. Normally my advice is just do it, but don't
Mm,
quit your job yet. And,
okay,
and you
interesting.
can build your prototype while you're working for, full time for the someone else company. I think no. I think most of companies is okay to actually uh, do it, uh, unless you have to do it after office hour for sure, right?
Right,
So
right, right.
so my first startup is the same thing. I did when I did like when I before I quit the company, it's been a year. It's actually I work from like 9 p.m. to the 2 a.m. every single day.
Mm,
And once you have a proof of concept is ready, and then and then when I feel comfortable, then I quit the company.
mm-hmm.
So, because everyone is different, I understand, but if I do it again, I might do the same approach.
Okay.
Like back to when I was like 26 years old, 27 years old.
Yeah.
But like just if you just quit it and no, because it's a building the company is not it's not fast track. Normally, like it takes very long time. Even like
Right.
like building the website, like
Yeah.
takes
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
like 6 months. But but to get some ideas in what kind of website I want to build it takes at least a month or two,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
like it's a long journey that
Mm-hmm.
you are preparing for it. So just I don't want to say be careful, but like there's a steps that you need to do, and then those like earlier steps you can actually do when you have a full-time jobs.
Right,
uh,
right, right, right.
yeah.
Financial management, financial
Financial
management.
management.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, one of the things that you were talking about, like a website takes a long time to build.
Yeah.
And I think this is feedback that you and I both get a lot, which is like, I'm not a technical person.
Yeah.
I need to find a technical co-founder, which I think, used to be true, right? Maybe like a decade ago or a little more than
Yeah.
a decade ago. It's like you can't really do anything without a CTO.
Yeah.
I think things are
Yeah.
different now. Like, what's your perspective on it? I think you could do it without even a technical co-founder.
Yeah, it depends on the what kind of problem you want to solve it.
Sure,
Like,
sure,
but
sure.
but your solution, requires to have a like heavy technical investment. You
Yep.
should have a technical co-founders. But if it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like, let's say you want to like sell some of products, then you can just
Mhm.
use a Shopify and then prove
Mhm.
your business concept first, and then you can
Mhm.
just sell to the Amazon first. All right, so
Right.
so that depends on the what kind of tracks you're doing it. But like I'm seeing that a lot of people actually start a company without technical co-founders as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. And okay, last kind of piece of
Yeah.
advice that's maybe unique for coming from you, which is, and I'm a new father.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people think that entrepreneurship is hard because you have a family and like, responsibilities and things like that. I personally think a different thing got harder, but it got easier on me, like from a mental perspective, which is kind of
Mhm.
unique. Um, how do you balance it? What are your thoughts on that? Like only single people should be founders.
Uh, uh, it's really hard to say. It's really hard. Families is really important. Still, like families is way more important than my company. I don't know that that's
Yeah,
my personality.
absolutely.
I'm trying to manage, it's a balance between, like, you know, it's a dedications of my time, when
Mm-hmm.
I actually staying, at home versus like, when to office is is more like different. So like when I stay home, I'm trying to be put as much effort as possible to become a good
Mm,
father. But
yeah,
it's extremely hard because I have to read the emails. It's the email is
yeah,
just keep coming.
yeah,
So it is tough. I don't know. It's hard to give advice, but I don't know. If you want to start a company, just do it. Just
yeah, yeah. Just stop
otherwise
thinking about other things. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
you're gonna regret, in
yeah,
future. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just
Absolutely.
do it and then ask for help for,
Yeah,
like looking for Sang, looking for me
yeah, yeah,
and get
yeah,
some advice in how to overcome, your struggles. So
yeah. I did hear
yeah.
somewhere. This is just a side note that's not
Yeah.
related to startup, but if you say I always try to be a good father, it's the definition of a good father. So that
Oh,
that made
really?
me, that made me feel better. That
Two.
because it basically means you have to try. You're trying more,
Yeah.
right? Like all the time.
Yeah.
So I do think that
Yeah.
you're an excellent father, excellent founder.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for
Thank
sharing
you.
your thoughts with us at K Start, the KSE podcast. As we said before, Jun's also the VP of KSE, leading our charge, putting all the pieces together so that we can create a platform to create soft landings for new founders, create launching pads for founders that have already started their business, in the United States. So we're around. Hit us in the comments. If you have any questions specifically for June, hit us in the comments. We'll ask June specifically. We'll either respond there, or maybe we'll just bring him back on to answer those questions. Thanks, June,
Sounds
for your
good.
time.
Thanks, Fang. Thank you, everyone.